I wasn't that excited for that night. I was more excited for the one we did in Detroit. But that night they wanted me to jump off the balcony, and believe it or not, I'm scared of heights. Like if I go up real quick and jump, it's no problem. But if I have to stand up there and wait, I get cold feet, and then I get scared about it.
You're scared of heights?
Yeah, real heights.
It's like a giraffe having a sore throat.
Yeah, but top rope or a cage, that's not really height. Like off a balcony, that's to me is scary.
Well, you did the logo, though. You jumped off the Raw logo.
R, yeah.
How was that?
That was scary, because I had Bubba and Devon holding a ladder behind the R. So when I was climbing up it was all shaky. So when I jumped, the R slipped out and I just fell flat on my face. And there was like 6 guys supposed to catch me, and I missed them all. I hit one guy with my arm, and they all fell down like dominoes. And I knocked the wind out of myself, and then I ran to the ring, and I was going, oh, on the way to the ring. But if I didn't jump so fast, I wouldn't have been able to jump.
The Federation knew that you were going to do that, obviously, right?
No, not exactly. They thought I was going to jump off the balcony. At the last minute, I talked Devon and Bubba to hold the ladder for me, and I'm going to jump off the R. And they go, well, do they want you to do that? I said, it didn't matter. I'm just going to do it, because if I go off the balcony, I'm going to get scared.
Was it true that you were upset with Paul E. about the way you were going to be used on Raw?
No. I was not happy because Vince wanted me to I don't know how to explain it. He just wanted me to be a regular guy. He didn't want me to be Sabu, you know. He just wanted me to be a wrestler, and I'll just be typical. I didn't want to be typical.
Was Vince giving you direction directly that night?
He gave direction to Paulie. Paulie gave them to me. So that way, when I said I didn't understand, I could always blame it on Paulie, you know.
So he was allowing Paul to book his guys, even though the instructions were coming from Vince?
Yes, yeah.
You guys got all your instructions from Paulie?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Was anyone aware that Paul had a deal with WWE at this point?
At that time, no. Actually, we felt double-crossed. I did anyways, because he motherfuckered, you know, Vince and WWF for years, and all of a sudden we're working for him. And we're doing what Vince wanted when Paulie was saying, we're not going to do what he wants, we're going to do it our way. But in reality, we tried to do it the way Vince wanted, but I still did it kind of my way, which I'm not saying it was good, but it was sort of my way, you know.
Was anyone planning any kind of sabotage when you got to the WWE arena that night or nothing?
No, I don't think so.
You were going to play ball?
Yeah, yeah. But see, the part of you know, our ECW is that we don't want to play ball their way, so we try to make it look like we're playing it our way, sort of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Try to make it look like not disobeying, but being roughshod. You know, taking over. But we didn't really take over. But you know, we try to make it look that way.
Are you given the respect from Vince or the crew when you come in? Or are you kind of treated like outcasts?
No, they treated us pretty friendly, especially Vince did. He shook our hands all one by one. Actually, he shook my hand so hard I thought he broke my neck. He kind of shook it like a retard. And I go, man, what's wrong with this guy? He hurt me. But to our faces, everybody gave us respect. You know, I don't know, behind our backs, I don't know how that went, but to our faces, everybody gave us the proper respect.
The WWE show, how it's run, how it's organized, the TV show, I mean, very different than what you were experiencing in Philadelphia? Yeah,
well, because like Paulie, if he wanted something done and we did it our way, and if it worked, he ran with it. With Vince, if he wanted something done and you did it your way, no matter if it worked or not, you still got heat for it. You know what I mean? Paulie, that's one thing I respected about Paulie was a lot of the stuff, our best stuff, happened on accident. It wasn't scripted. You know, he had a script, but not many of us followed it. You know, and if it worked, we ran with it. If it didn't work, we changed it. You know. He caused a lot of trouble with the fans and with the boys. He was a troublemaker.
I mean, was he often justified? I mean, was he picked on wrongly by fans?
I don't think he was picked on wrongly. He was picked on properly.
Well, especially for a heel.
What's that?
For a heel, you got to expect something.
Yeah, But he took it personal. You know,
Right.
when you're in the business, you can say anything you want about me or about my family if it's in the ring. But if you say it to me in the dressing room, then I take it personal. He took everything that was done in the ring personal. Taz too. You know, they took it too personal. But it's a work. You know, it was a business.
Is this something, Paulie, addressed with them at any time that you got to lighten up?
No. He just, like I said, if it worked, he let us run with it. He got arrested for it, but they didn't tell the whole story. The other part of the story was he was not charged with anything because he had a prescription for everything. Is that the one you're talking about, or are you talking about the joint?
No, this was the pills, prescription medication.
Yeah. See, he had when you go to Mexico, you can get your medication cheaper there, and you're allowed 3 months supply. So when they found that he had that much in his bag, they arrested him. But what the other part of the story they didn't finish was they let him go also because he had a prescription for it. It just looked odd when they first looked through his bag and seen all this medicine. But then after he justified it, he was released.
What are your memories of Dr. Death?
He was a great guy. I toured with him in Japan probably 15 times, and he was one of the kindest, toughest guys I ever met. He's one of my favorite people in the whole world, and he's been a friend of my family's. Him, his dad, and his brother have been a friend of my family's for almost, I think, 40 years or better. One of my uncle's first territories was he wrestled for Dory Funk Sr. In Texas, and Terry is one of my favorite people in the whole world.
You were in attendance that evening?
What
you were in attendance that evening.
Which
you
evening?
Were for the banquet.
Oh yeah. I was sitting on the thing there. Actually, I bought him me, Van Dam, Lou Spicoli, my referee Pee Wee, and a few other guys. All chipped in on this big trophy to give to him. It was made me a star award because after I wrestled Terry Funk, people took notice who I was. You know?
Is it true that Raven was upset with Paulie because he wasn't able to be there for storyline reasons? You remember Raven not being there?
Yeah. I don't think he was upset about it. I don't think so. No more than he's upset about anything else. He's always a piss and moaner.
Right, because I mean, you and Taz were in an angle, but you're in the same room there, but Raven wasn't able to attend. I don't know if you had heard anything about that.
No, I don't think there was any heat or anything like that.
Well, let's get to New Jack's speech.
Okay.
I know you remember that.
Yeah.
For an hour?
Or more.
Your take on it?
It was too long, and it was just too long, and he was rambling on about stuff that didn't matter. You know, it had nothing to do with that for that night. You know.
He told us a story on camera, so it's fair game, that he and Anthony had gone into the lavatory. Some chemical application occurred, and then he went out to do his thing. At what point in the speech, how many minutes in does it start to get really uncomfortable for everyone who's watching?
Probably about 10 minutes into the speech.
Yeah.
Because he started shooting on Jim Cornette, on Paulie, on this guy and that guy, and we were just saying, like, when's this guy going to end and who's going to shoot him? It finally happened that, you know, we were going to cross over to the line from being an independent company to being one of the majors. We never quite really made it to the majors, but we thought we were gonna, you know, we felt like a major league that night, though. That's for sure.
Did you personally feel pressure to amp up the performance at all?
No, I just did it like I normally did it. You know, there was no pressure. I mean, there's pressure, but I always put pressure on myself, anyways. You know, I always wanted to, you know, do good.
Because this is a pay-per-view, is there a different production crew around you guys?
Yeah, it instead of having our regular camera guys, Ron and Charlie, we had a pay-per-view company. I don't know what company it was, but they had their camera guys. We used Ron and Charlie too, but there was more cameras than there was normally, and just different guys running the show. You know, not running the show, but the technical part of it, the lighting and stuff like that.
Right. What's the scene backstage? A lot of tension?
I guess so, because like I said, we were, you know, it was our first pay-per-view, so everybody, you know, was super nervous. I'm always nervous anyways, but I was really nervous. Not just because it was pay-per-view, like I said, we're taking it to the next step. So, and everybody wanted to do extra good, you know.
At the pay-per-view, Paulie, before the show, gets up on the stairs there and gives a big, very much like the Messiah, stands up and addresses the pulpit. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Were you moved?
No, I barely listened to him. I got tired of listening to him. I heard the story 1,000 times before that. He rehearsed it, I think.
Was that the general consensus from everybody? Like, oh Christ, here he goes.
Like, yeah, like who's going to shoot this guy?